Hello, my name is Jennifer and I'm going to be teaching you today the most basic crochet technique that a lot of patterns use. It is a single crochet. I'm also going to be showing you a chain stitch and a slip knot. All are things that just about every single pattern you'll ever do call for. First thing you'll need is yarn. I love this yarn. This is Hobby Lobby's brand. I like it for two reasons. One, it's pretty cheap. It's $3.99 a skein, and that you can usually get a 40% off coupon for them. But two, it's also really soft. There's other types of yarn that is cheaper, but it's not as soft. The Red Heart's Super Saver yarn, really cheap, but it's very, very rough. So I do like this one better. Whenever I started to learn, I looked for a number 4 medium weight, which is called a worsted weight yarn. You can find that on this back panel. Just look for what looks like a little ball of yarn, and that'll tell you what weight it is. This also tells you what size crochet hook to use. This one says that for the pattern that comes on here, it looks like it's a blanket. We're not going to do that today, but you can use single crochet to make a blanket, anything that you want to do. It calls for a 5.5 millimeter crochet hook. So that is what we have. I don't know if you can see that. It is a 5.5 millimeter or an I hook, and we're going to use that. You'll need a pair of scissors and a yarn needle. And what the yarn needle is for is at the end of your project to weave in your ends, because you don't want to end right at a knot, because then if that knot comes loose, your whole pattern will unravel. So what you'll do is you'll at your end you'll take it and weave them into your pattern, and I will show you how to do that too. To start off, there's two ways that you can unroll a ball of yarn. You've got your the outside piece, what's on the outside, and then or you can pull it from the inside. And I like to pull it from the inside because that way I can set my yarn down. I sit here and I pull it and it doesn't move. If I'm using this side, whenever I pull it, it moves all over the place, and I just don't like chasing my yarn around. So the first thing we're going to do is I'm going to grab, quite a bit of yarn. We're going to work on something like this. This is just a little swatch that I made to show you what single crochet looks like. It's just, back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. And so you can make anything with single crochet. You can make pot holders, towels, scarves, clothes. I've made baby clothes with single crochet. You can make a blanket. Anything that you want to do, you can do in single crochet. Well, not anything, but most things. So the first thing you're going to want to do is find your end. And what I always do, the way I make my slip knot, is I make a U, or I hook it over one finger, and then I twist it, and I reach down, and I grab the bottom piece, and I pull it up like this. There's a ton of different ways to make a slip knot, but the reason why it's called slip knot is because you can pull it and it'll slip right out. So the way that I do it again, I'll make a loop, put my fingers between it, turn, and then I'll grab the piece underneath. After you make your slip knot, you're going to insert your hook into the loop that you made, and then you're going to have two pieces of yarn. Now you're going to have this as your tail end. This is what you're going to weave into your pattern at the end, and then this is what's still attached to the ball of yarn, and it's called your working yarn. The first thing that you do is called a chain, and that's pretty much self-explanatory. That's exactly what it is. So in order to make a chain, it's called a yarn over, where you'll wrap your yarn around your hook. You'll hook it with your hook and you'll pull it through, and that is one chain. And then however many that you need to do for that pattern, you'll chain that many. It might say chain 20, chain 30, chain 5, whatever the pattern calls for, that's how many you need. So we're going to chain 11, so that was 1, then 2, we're going to go back through, wrap it around, pull it through, and 3, wrap it around, pull it through, that's 4, and then we're just going to keep going, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, and 11. You don't want to make your chains too tight, but you can see what the chains look like. You don't want to make them too tight, because if you make them too tight, you're not going to be able to get your hook back through whenever you go back and start working in your pattern. We're going to just do exactly like what I did on here. This is 10 rows of 10 stitches. The reason why we chained 11 is because now we're going to work into our stitches. And you're not going to go back into the one that your 11th chain, because if you do, all you're going to do is take your stitch out. So you're going to skip this one that's right next to the hook, and you're going to go to this second chain from the hook. So you've got 1, 2. This first chain you don't count, because that is the one that you have just come into, so you're not going to go into that one. You're going to skip this first one and go into this second one. And all you're going to do is put your hook into that top of that loop. And then you're going to take your working yarn, and you're going to yarn over, so you're going to wrap it around, and you're going to pull it through. And now you have 2 loops on your hook. So now what you're going to do is you're going to yarn over again and pull that yarn through both loops. And now you've just made your first single crochet. And we're going to do that in the next stitch. So we're going to go into this stitch, and we're going to yarn over and pull it through. We now have 2 loops on our hook, and we're going to yarn over again, pull the yarn through both of those loops, and that has made your second single crochet. And we're going to do that the entire way down. We're going to go through the next one, yarn over, pull it through, 2 loops on our hook, yarn over again, pull it through both of those loops. We're going to do that the rest of the way down, and then I will show you what to do at the end of your row. The first row is always the hardest. I always have, because the chain kind of wants to move around on you, but once you get done with all of your stitches, you now have 10 stitches. So now you have 10 single crochets here. So now we're going to move to the next row. So in order to do that, we're going to chain 1. Like I said, you're going to chain and single crochet in almost everything. So wrap it around, pull through, that's a chain, and now we're going to turn our work. With crochet, if you're right-handed, you always work right to left. If you're left-handed, you work left to right, but I am right-handed, so we're working right to left. So now we're going to go into the top of this single crochet right here. This first single crochet right here, we're going to go into the top. And where you know to put your hook is there is a hole right here at the top. That's where your hook is going to go. And if you look down from the top, you can see a whole bunch of V's. And you're going to want to go through this hole and under both of these V's. And then you're going to yarn over, pull through. You have 2 loops on your hook, yarn over again, and pull through both of them. And now you have another single crochet. And now the next one. You can see the hole right here. That's where you're going to put your hook. And you're going to go under both of those V's, yarn over, pull it through, 2 loops on your hook, yarn over again, pull it through both of them. Same here. This hole right here, under both of those V's, yarn over, pull it through. You have 2 loops on your hook, yarn over, pull it through both of them. And you're just going to keep doing that down the row. You're going to go in through the hole, under both of the V's, yarn over, pull it through, 2 loops on the hook, yarn over, pull through both of them. And you can start seeing the pattern coming together. So under both V's, yarn over, 2 loops on your hook, yarn over, pull through both. Just keep going down the row until you get to the last stitch, and I will show you. The last stitch is sometimes a little bit harder to see because it's right at the end where you turn, but you still need to go into that last stitch. And crochet is it's a little bit different than knitting. I don't know if any of you knit, but with knitting, you know, you cast on all of your stitches on your needles and you just move them back and forth from one needle to the other. Crochet, you have to actually keep more of a count, because if you get your count off, then you're going to end up with either too many stitches or not enough stitches in your pattern, or in your piece of work, I'm sorry. And then it won't turn out right. So then again, the next row we're going to chain 1, pull through, and turn our work. So again, we're going to be working right to left. We're just going to do the exact same thing. We're going to go in through this hole right here, under both of those V's, yarn over and pull through with 2 loops on our hook, yarn over, pull through both. Again, under the hole, under both of the V's, yarn over, pull through, yarn over, pull through both loops. Under, yarn over, 2 loops, yarn over again, pull through. And you just keep doing that for however many rows your pattern calls for. If you're making a scarf, you'll just keep going until it is the length that you want your scarf. I've made a lot of single crochet scarves and I love to wear them. They're soft, they're warm. So you just keep going until you reach whatever the desired length of your pattern is. So I'm just going to finish here so I can show you how to end. So we've gone to the very last stitch on the row. Now, say that, you know, we've done however long we want and we're done. So the next thing we're going to do is take our scissors, and on our working yarn that's attached to our ball of yarn, we're going to take our scissors. We're going to cut off a pretty long tail, and this we're going to weave through as well. In order to finish a piece, what you're going to do, you're at your last stitch, you're going to yarn over, and you're going to pull through the whole thing. And pull it tight, and now you have tied off your piece. So now you've got 2 ends to weave in. And if you just cut them, like if I just cut this right here, then the first thing that's going to do, that's going to unravel. And then my whole chain is gone, and you pretty much ruin your piece. So what you have to do is weave in your ends. And the way that you do that is you take your yarn needle and you will thread it through you thread your yarn through your needle. What I do is I pull it over top of my needle, pull it tight down like that, and that kind of pinches it together, and then I stick it through the eye of the needle. And so what you're going to do is you're just going to, like I said, just weave it in, you know, go into your piece a little bit. Don't pull it too tight because you don't want to change the shape of your piece. Find another place, weave it in there, go back and forth. That way it's not just one direction. And then once you've weaved it through your piece a few times, you'll take your scissors, cut it off, and then you now have weaved in that end. And I'll do it on this side that was the working yarn as well, or the whichever side this was, the original tail. And like I said, this doesn't have to be perfect. It just has to go through your piece that you made. Like I said, if you pull it too tight, then it's going to change the shape of your pattern. So make sure that you're not pulling it too tight. And once you've completed that, you'll clip off your end. And now you have a completed piece that is entire single crochets. I hope you found this tutorial helpful. I'm going to put up some other tutorials for different stitches, double crochet, half double crochet, triple crochet, as well as increase and decrease. So I hope you check out some of my other videos. Thank you and have a great day.